Both of these teams are quite practiced here. It used to be, for a period of time, Empire's best map. We'll see exactly what happens as we load into the very final map between Empire and BDS. The winner goes to tomorrow's grand finals. Who will it be? Team BDS starting on defense, Team Empire on attack.
We'll start off with the bans here. BDS, since they are on defense, get the first one, and we'll begin with an attacker. So, knowing that typically we see Empire ban Nomad, what will BDS get rid of? Is it going to be the Thatcher? Or, yeah, it's going to be the Thatcher. So right off the cuff, they don't take any risks there. Now, Empire have been banning Nomad fairly consistently through this tournament. I mean, it seems to be their mainstay attacker ban these days. And on Consulate, Nomad is especially useful. So I would expect to see it. There you go. And now on defense, I mean, it's a toss-up. I imagine Empire's going to ban Valkyrie. Valkyrie was such a potent force for BDS. I cannot see Empire letting Valkyrie persist. I mean, if they do, then I think it's a mistake. And I mean, they decide on the Echo. And I still think that's a mistake, Parker.
Valkyrie has a pronounced impact on a map like Consulate because you can very easily throw those cams outside as well. And while a Jaeger goes down for BDS's ban, an Echo and a Jaeger ban are particularly interesting to watch. There's a couple things here to note on it, by the way. Number one, Valkyrie is still very much in play. Wamai in play. Mira in play. We've seen Pulse bans on Consulate because of how strong Pulse can be playing downstairs when it's a Teller's Archives defense. In fact, that entire bomb site often relies about that type of information. Valkyrie and Pulse both in play at the same time is going to be exceptionally strong. The good news is that with the Valkyrie available for a couple rounds, Empire found their wits and brought an IQ, and the IQ proved to help them tremendously. If they struggle for information on attack, Team Empire can always trot out the IQ again.
I can all but guarantee that if BDS wins this, I'm going to be able to easily draw it back to this first half when Empire didn't ban Valkyrie and suffered because of those cams round by round. This round, it's going to be a 6-pick into the Valkyrie from Renshiro, so Empire doesn't even know they're up against the Valkyrie right now. I'm sure they probably suspect they will be dealing with a 6-pick Valkyrie, but they haven't brought an IQ, so it's hard to say.
10 seconds to go.
And the reason we're talking about Valkyrie, for those of you who don't know, she's one of the most potent operators on defense, and she's often banned in competitive Siege because you just get so much information. I mean, these cameras, they can go outside, they can go inside, they can go in every little nook and cranny, honestly. They're tiny. They get a lot of information. And, yeah, I mean, not having a counter for Empire is going to cause them problems. And BDS have been so good at leveraging the information from those cameras to their advantage.
Well, this is it for one of these two teams. Consulate will be where it ends. Liquid was buried here just a couple hours ago. And another team will be sunken beneath the ground. Whether it be Empire or BDS, we don't know. Both of these teams, like we said, have tried to start some kind of legacy, and Dan gets the very first pick of this map. We talked about Valkyrie cameras outside, by the way, and Elemzje will be able to play off of one currently established on a tree. He sees the drone that goes in, and now a hop out, but he looks the wrong way, gets a nice shot, and he'll have to get back in the building safely. He almost botched that one, but always is down for the count.
Wow, what a save there from Elemzje, and always huge potato play with that L85. Honestly, could have been a freebie because Elemzje looked the wrong way, but not so. Now, even man count, however, Elemzje has incurred quite a lot of damage on that run out, so he'll be an easy kill for Empire later on. But there's not a lot of control for Empire. As you can see, they don't really have much going for them on this top floor defense. Where are they trying to attack? What are they trying to hit? It looks like they might try to rotate over to admin side, but they're doing so very, very late in the round.
Very slowly.
Yeah.
Sluggishly, as we've come to know from these teams, but a patience that sets us up for the final 30 seconds that are just an all-out brawl. And okay, Elemzje didn't have much HP left, so that's not a particularly challenging affair for JoyStiCK, but then he gets refragged by RaFaL with the roaming smoke. Now, I feel like there's a rant from Jess waiting for RaFaL here.
Well, it's done now, and it has been successful, at least in this round.
Well, after she gave Rare, I believe it was Rare who played the roaming smoke on Furia. She gave him the gears the other day. Down goes Shaiiko as Dan wanders in, and now ShepparD will get closer to that bomb site to use her in hand. BriD.BDS with the ACS-12 very far away. ACS and the SMG are basically what they have to work with. And RaFaLe's re-entry will be at the top of the spiral stairs. Scyther looks in one direction, explosions go off. BriD.BDS loses the fight. ShepparD and Scyther combine for 2, and Empire takes the first round.
The first round of the last map in a best of 3 is always one of the most important rounds in the entire series, as it sets the tone for that final map. Now, BDS will have to put in recovery work, and we all know that they're plenty capable of that, but it's an extra hurdle to jump over moving into this map. So well done to Empire. I have to say, though, very confusing round. I mean, the run out from Elemzje, and that works. We also saw Empire all over the map, no clear objective on where they want to push. They don't seem to know what the goal is. And BDS still manages to lose that because they dropped so many bodies to the picks from Empire. This is a weird round.
It seemed like there was a lot of 1v1s taken by BDS, as if they weren't playing that particularly well structured. They weren't playing well against Empire, and they weren't playing well with each other. They were all spread apart, and those 1v1 engagements are very easy to trade off.
Yep.
When there's a series of 50-50s, you're not always going to win half.
Yeah, and it's also hard to say which team is going to be the one to take it, too. I mean, a series of 50-50s, it's just that. It could go either way. That's kind of by definition, right? So, yeah, Empire did win that round. They easily could have lost it. And I was not impressed by their coordination.
A relatively secure victory for them on that round, starting off with a big pick by Dan. JoyStiCK will play Wamai quite frequently on this map, so expect to see that from him here. They learned from the Maestro pick. They're not going to go with that again. I am kind of surprised to see the Prevalent Save teams roll out the ACS-12. That's the slug shotgun that fires a lot faster now and has a glorified ACOG on it. The Alta is just too good to pass up, and frankly, I understand that teams want to take longer range engagements and can do some serious damage, as the ACS will effectively work like the TCSG used to, but I always have to see whenever I see a Maestro that it's a, just take the Alta. Just please take the Alta. Anywho, Dan was engaged in the very first altercation in round number 1. He finds himself in that same predicament this time with Renshiro, as a lot of window play will dominate this console take. Up top is where Empire wants to go, even though it is a lobby defense. And an early, once again, an early fight with JoyStiCK and Shaiiko doing battle, but Shaiiko looks to get away, but he gives himself up again. Shaiiko was the first death too many times in Consulate for BDS, and now he finds himself on this round giving his opponents an advantage.
You mean Coastline?
What did I say?
Consulate.
Yeah, I meant Coastline.
Okay. No, but he's being that too here now.
Yes.
So, I mean, technically, you are correct, which is
the best kind of correct.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So, BDS, one man down and one of the most pivotal players as well, but Dan has incurred quite a lot of damage. Look at him at around 25. It's going to be hard for him to win fights, and you need Dan to win those fights because he's been such an important part of your fragging if you're Empire, just in the same way that Shaiiko has been.
And you need Dan to be set up well as the Buck, too. Let's not also take that off. He's going to be playing as an operator who will be a pivotal part of this map control. He suspects that there's something going on down on that bottom floor as a hatch is opened up. Renshiro had taken some damage in the fight against Dan earlier on, and now Renshiro doesn't win it! Dan is on another level right now, and Renshiro is as good as gone. But the thing is, with all this time left, they don't have proper drone work to know where all of BDS sits.
Oh, there goes the shield, and yeah, that wasn't even a reaction. BDS seemed in a really bad position as we start to hit the last 30 seconds. They're going to have to force a pick here, or it's going to be trouble as the nade from Always comes in, and down goes RaFaLe.
Empire drops an anvil on the head of that defense, and now the diffuser being planted by ShepparD. Elemzje will not be able to see for this unless, no, here it goes, and it gets shot in the air by ShepparD, who falls off.
My God.
He reads him like a book. It's Elemzje now in a 1v4 from above trying to retake, but he's nowhere near fast enough. Dan guns him down, and Empire's up 2-0.
Well, Parker, I could say I wasn't too impressed by Empire in the first round, but this second round is a totally different story. That was textbook, and that's the book, I guess, that Empire was reading, not so much BDS. As they pick up that early pick on Shaiiko, they turn that into more picks in a cascading effect, and that top floor control, BDS kept trying to pressure upstairs, and it kept costing them bodies. Following that, the site denial. the diffuse denial, the drop down, the C4, it's so typical, it's so expected on that site, but it's usually successful because of the extreme arc of the C4. It's hard to shoot that one. And yeah, they manage it. Empire are firing on all cylinders.
ShepparD knew it was coming. I mean, that's so telestrated. The moment, or so telegraphed, the moment that hatch is opened up, you know it's coming, and me, oh my, what, I am...
Still a hard shot.
I mean, it's a great play by ShepparD. Just so beautifully done, and a tough spot for BDS to be on. Right now, this is just an impressive start from Empire.
Well, speaking of starts, Parker, that's the thing, isn't it? Is that we haven't really seen BDS start playing this map yet, frankly. So, I mean, yeah, it's cool, enthusiasm for Empire. They're up 2-0. But I am still waiting to see what BDS will do. I am waiting and wondering. Because there is every possibility that this is going to start swinging the other way at any moment. Because I don't know, I just haven't seen it. Look at the scoreline right now. There's 3 kills over 2 rounds for BDS. They haven't showed up yet. So when they do, if they do, what's going to be the major difference? Is it going to be a much closer round? Because, I mean, I expect that.
It doesn't, we're not there yet, but it's starting to feel like, just the mood and the energy, to very similar circumstances that BDS versus NiP felt like in SI 2020. If you recall, and if your memory's not good enough to remember, that's fine, but BDS started off strong, NiP clawed back, and by the 3rd map, Shaiiko had disappeared and BDS got pulverized. Now it's happening again. Elemzje is down for the count. Dan, a flawless 5-0 so far, and there's still 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go.
Well, it's just 1 pick. That doesn't usually put BDS in a bad spot. And look at that, they've got a Valkyrie cam outside, and they're calling Scyther. Easy kill for Renshiro. He has the information from the Valkyrie cams. I told you that if BDS starts winning rounds, on this first half, I'm gonna blame it on the lack of a Valkyrie ban. And it starts with the answer back here for BDS, and they find themselves even now in the man count, so not a huge deal that they lost their player early on.
4 Nitro cells on the board, by the way. Well, make that 3 with Elemzje down. The possibility for another is now gone with the mute dead. And this is a Teller's Archives defense. It talked about how Pulse can be really crucial here, but a Valkyrie is just as important. Renshiro was playing Connector and being hunted down by Always, but he's fallen back to Projector. And an arm spotted. Always sees this. That's a tough shot to make. He expects a swing on over. Will he know that the Valkyrie is playing off that? Shaiiko wins his duel against Dan. That is huge. And a monumental play by the Wamai as an upside-down repel could catch him. Empire waiting. Grenade tossed out. It'll go all the way down, but grabbed by a magnet. Down goes ShepparD as Shaiko's reign of terror continues. This is what Team BDS needs to show up big, but Renshiro's been fallen away by JoyStiCK. Always can secure and will do so. Anticipating somebody to push him from Visa stairs. Nobody is nearby.
We've got an even split here in terms of control to man count, but it's going to be difficult for these last 2 players for Empire to get that site pressure that they desperately need. Luckily, Always still has the hammer, and he's going to start throwing it down and opening up from above.
Here's the big problem, though. When the diffuser gets picked up, which it hasn't been just yet, there are no grenades to try and isolate the last players. So it might just be an opportunity to go for kills that Empire sees at their disposal. And from above, trying to distract, but JoyStiCK baits Shaiiko in. Now the last 2 members are downstairs, and they both got Nitro cells. Empire needs to make a decision. Do you go for the plan or do you go for kills? They don't have that diffuser, so the option is the latter. You have to gun them down. BriD shut down. RaFaL pushes in. He takes 1, but with 1 second left, he just needs to survive, and he'll do a good job of that. BDS finally get on the board.
The pressure was massive there for BDS, but they still manage it with just seconds left on the clock. Empire did not have enough time to get those final kills, and you mentioned it when it happened, Parker. That diffuser was down way too early for way too long. It just seemed like Empire forgot about it. And that is not ideal in a match with this level and these stakes. It's really rough to look at Empire and be like, oh, I'm sorry, you forgot your diffuser. Even saying that, though, I must admit, there's not a guarantee that they would have been able to plan because of those C4s that were still in play. There's every possibility that this diffuser wouldn't have made any difference in that situation. Still, though, well played to BDS. Shaiiko, in particular, you talked about how he has been quiet and how that has costed BDS much in the past. Well, he finally showed up. Took him 3 rounds, but he's here, and he's gunning. Those 2 picks were super important in blunting the momentum that Empire was mounting. So, back to the top floor here for BDS, a site that is not too popular with some teams, but it seems that BDS seems to think they can make this work.
The first time around, not quite so successful as Empire began their streak. And right now, Consulate tends to be a coin toss between teams. If you want to pull up the stats, oh no, Renshiro. Too early. The other cam will sail out, but the fact that it happened 5 seconds later might potentially be spotted. I'm not entirely certain. We'll see what exactly happens. BriD reunited with the Maestro, as it looks like it's a very similar setup to what BDS had brought previously. Aruni Gates to try and eat as much of the utility as possible, slow them down, and work off of the intel. Elemzje had vaulted out the window before and was able to successfully net a kill and not be punished for it. A very similar camera is positioned in the same way. Empire doesn't seem to be any the wiser. No IQ brought for the 4th round in a row. And despite that, Team Empire has prevailed on 2 of those. So the operator not particularly crucial just yet. If this round goes in BDS's favor and the Valk cams tend to play a big role on that, look to Empire to possibly fix that.
I'm not going to talk about the Valk cams again, I refuse.
Okay.
Too many times. I'm still angry about the fact that Valkyrie's in play right now and there's no IQ, but I'm going to talk about it. Shaiiko eats a little bit of damage there from that nade, and a lot more from the spray. You could see he's nice and low now. Doesn't land the headshot. JoyStiCK will shut him down as Shaiiko gets absolutely desperate. And now, with the lead-off pick once again on Shaiiko, Empire in a good spot.
Shaiiko is committing very big errors for his team right now, just as he did in the tail end of Coastline, and it has carried over now to Consulate. But Elemzje has been mighty fine. He had a rough first map, but since then he has woken up and he chose violence. He'll lose the deployable shield in front of him, and he doesn't know if somebody's coming for a follow-up, so he'll hit the deck and completely rotate down Banana into the basement. He'll go.
This has been the most exciting map so far, and we're only 4 rounds in. The repel in there on yellow. Empire have firm control of yellow, and they're going to be able to use that. Oh, what a shot! And another for Empire, as it's just BriD and Elemzje all of a sudden. But Elemzje, as you said, is very violent right now, belligerent even. And he's going to get a kill to try and bring this a little bit closer. JoyStiCK also low, so there is not a guarantee here for the attack.
There's a bulletproof camera up, by the way, and then the Maestro cam will go too. So if you're the Thermite, you need to play somewhere else, unless they can do some work. Down goes Elemzje, so BriD will need to clutch, and he's got one shot, but always says, no thank you. The lead for Empire grows again. They're back up by 2, as it's 3-1.
This has been such a good half here from Empire, but they have been letting it slip just a little bit, Parker. That one round, I have a feeling that one round that BDS managed to get earlier is going to cause problems for Empire later in this match when we get onto the second half, because there's no guarantee that Empire is going to be able to translate their success here on the first half to the second. We aren't even done here. This could be a 3-3. But we haven't really seen that kind of flair from BDS yet. We haven't seen anything that suggests, to me at least, that they are going to be able to pull this back on the first half.
I know that people are going to be tired of us hearing about Shaiiko, but he really is such a high-impact player that if he is not surrendering his life as first pick, he can kill you through the mid-round.
Yeah.
If you let Shaiiko live, and it's a 3v3 and he's still on the board, it doesn't matter that it's an even number, because in most cases, BDS is going to have the upper hand because he is still in play.
Yes, and I've discussed this in the past. If you look farther back, earlier days in BDS, in, say like a year ago, something like that, when Shaiiko wasn't popping off, there was absolutely no depth to BDS. That was their problem for a long time. They would just fall by the wayside.
Yep.
They corrected that, and now BDS can play against, I'd say, middle-class teams and still be successful without Shaiiko being present. However, we're not there. That's not this situation. This is the semis of a major. The pressure is as high as it gets, and if he's not showing up, it's going to cause problems. And we praised Shaiiko through the rest of the earlier in the series. In the first 2 maps, he did so well, especially in Coastline. But he has to keep doing well, Parker.
That was obviously a BDS before they picked up BriD, one of the most clutch players in the whole world.
Yes, a long time ago.
And they picked up Elemzje to help right that ship as their main IGL. Those 2 additions were huge. BriD from Vitality, Elemzje from Secret, and they helped BDS elevate their gameplay. But nobody is having a good game for BDS, and Renshiro certainly isn't either. He goes 1-5. BriD is primed with a Nitro Cell, but Shaiiko is also gone, and this Empire iteration is pulverizing BDS.
Yeah, they are doing really well right now. They're primed for their 4th round, but it's still 3 on BDS. They could do something here. Elemzje has been the one shining light for BDS so far through Consulate. He's negative, as is everybody on BDS, but he's not as negative as the rest of them. BriD also has the potential at any moment to start popping off, but he's going to drop and lose some HP in the process. RaFaLe on yellow stairs, eats a nade, but he's fine. He can eat those for breakfast.
This is where BDS has to go for some hero plays. They know they trail. You have to get brazen and try to force a pick, because then you can knock Empire on their heels. That's why you see RaFaLe as a smoke peeking that yellow skylight. With this, despite the fact that both Shaiiko and Renshiro are dead, you've still got half of the round to go. And the location of RaFaLe on yellow stairs was spotted by a drone, but nobody on Empire is fast enough to capitalize off that.
That's fine for Empire. They still have 1 minute and 20 seconds left to set themselves up. The real problem is going to be Elemzje, who's upstairs, and he'll get JoyStiCK down, but not out. Might be savable. It's all down to whether or not Dan can cover, as well as Scyther on this connector rappel. This is a difficult position for both of these players. Elemzje keeps his gun up, keeps his wits about him, and he'll keep trying to fight this.
They've still got some intel in there, likely a bulletproof camera brought out by Renshiro, so they've got information if need be. A grenade gets tossed on in from Scyther. Doesn't do any damage, but potentially clears some stuff out. Now next the go is the Gone 6, as it'll remove that Banshee. BDS right now in a tough spot. Final 40 seconds, and with a victory here, Empire put a stamp on this first half and indisputably win it, taking 4 rounds. But look at this, RaFaLe catches Always. On yellow stairs, they chased him off of the position from above, but he goes sight unseen. A Nitro Cell connects, and we've got an even round to go now. All of a sudden, BDS has made this competitive, but they lose their plot, and Elemzje from above will have to stop it. ShepparD holds on to the diffuser, but Elemzje doesn't seem to have any information. Some pings inside of the site. All of Empire will corral themselves. Elemzje at some point having to drop. He's an even 4-4 for his team. Doesn't know if someone's up in bathroom. Doesn't know if someone's over by yellow. Diffuser going down. He won't be able to stop ShepparD in time. The limited windows do not provide a good and accurate look as to where the diffuser is. He gets shot away at from yellow stairs. He doesn't know. He's completely oblivious, as is BDS. It's 4-1 for Empire, and they will at least take the first half.
Massive round there for Empire. They locked that one out. It looked a little scary for a second, Parker, when the C4 from Elemzje landed, and they also managed to get another pick on the push into sight, but Empire persevere. This is the best Empire that we have seen through this series. Map number 1, frankly, they looked asleep. Map number 2 took them to the second half. Starting off here on Consulate, it has been all Empire all the way, and they are ready to take this to BDS, who look a little bit flustered. We're seeing a lot of BDS picks early on, and sorry, I mean Empire picks onto BDS, of course, as they're losing Shaiiko early, or they're losing Renshiro early, or they're losing BriD early. No matter who it is, it's causing problems for BDS, and they're constantly moving to try and correct course, but it's just not working. This round here, the last of the first half, is essential for BDS. They need to salvage this one to correct course and give themselves a solid chance in the second half.
I will say this, with the way the operator bans have unfolded, no Thatcher and no Nomad, that doesn't really impact the attackers that much. But look at the defenders. Valkyrie is still very much in play. Pulse is still in play. Mira is still in play. Wamai is still in play. Those are 4 of the most banned defenders here on this map. Instead, we've got a Jaeger and an Echo ban. So these defender bans might be upending BDS more than we expected.
I would argue that the most important ban of them all is, well, number 1 Jaeger, but number 2 Nomad, right? The tricky thing with that is Empire always banned Nomad. Obviously, BDS had to know that. Jaeger was banned by BDS, so I cannot excuse you having trouble without a Jaeger.
It's exactly why Shaiiko is staying on that Wamai for the entirety of this match, and has done so through all these rounds. But the grenade play from Empire has been great. The magnets nowhere near strong enough. So BDS obviously banning out the Jaeger. Why do they do that? It's so that they can play around it, but they haven't been entirely effective. And in fact, no greater example of that than the magnets being burned and Shaiiko taking damage from grenades again. He's being flushed out of his position.
He's got the Selma on the mirror window, and he'll fall back, but he makes it out. Why is he peeking again? That is very dangerous. Scyther could have capitalized upon that. We might have seen Shaiiko die early once again, but he luckily gets away from that, so that's good for BDS.
Through the 5 rounds of action that we've seen thus far, Empire has had the first kill every single time. And that obviously sets you up extremely well for the remainder of the round. Renshiro doesn't understand how close he's going to come to death here. He toys with Always, and this is a tough shot for him to make. Back up the stairs he'll go, but he's in between a rock and a hard place. A Nitro cell as he looks to lob it over towards the window. There it goes. Dan shrugs off a bit of damage, but not too much as a flash comes in. Maybe trying to do a coordinated effort on Renshiro, who's managed to make it down. So Shaiiko returns, firing away. He does some great work on Nadan. There you go. BDS breaks the stalemate that they had, and they managed to get the first pick, but it's traded back immediately by JoyStiCK.
Big pick there for JoyStiCK, and Empire keeping the round as a result, but Shaiiko's still alive, still lingering on the top floor, doing some work by Connector. They'll have to clear him out before they start hitting the site, which, by the way, is Teller's Archives. If Shaiiko just stays alive in Connector, you talked about this earlier, Parker, he's going to have such an important influence on this round.
And don't count him out. There's always time for Shaiiko to start heating up. And if he can have a huge round here, well, then Empire are in significant trouble. BDS looking to try and stave off a 5-1 that Empire are not particularly close to at the moment. But JoyStiCK looks the wrong way, and RaFaL tries to secure, but he misses the Nitro cell. He'll have to swing out and brave one of the players from Empire as they immediately rotate out. But RaFaL's been down, finished off by Always from above. The advantage is technically Empire's, even though JoyStiCK will continue to bleed. Is he recoverable? That is the question. He's made his way out, and he is back up and fighting fit. But Shaiiko is still very much alive for BDS. He's under fire, but no, he's been taken out, and JoyStiCK, who gets back from the dead, manages to claim that kill. The good news is that there's still a Nitro cell for BDS. Diffuser going down from ShepparD. Do they have intel on this? As the Sledge of Always heads downstairs, he'll try to take out BriD, and he's in a position to try to do that. BriD very wary of this. He gets it down onto ShepparD. Diffuser needs to be backed up. JoyStiCK does it. A hammer kill, and Renshiro gets shut down. The first half goes to Empire 5-1.
What a massive half there for Empire, and now BDS are going to have to absolutely obliterate Empire on attack the same way they just were obliterated, Parker. That was so one-sided. Even the round that BDS managed to win was in question. That's a 1v1 winning on the time as defense. Well, now that we go to the second half, we'll just see what BDS can do on attack, but they've got to be demoralized at this point. That last round, Empire picking up the early picks. Honestly, I thought because Shaiiko managed to stay alive upstairs that he was going to be the difference maker. But he just wasn't. He dies in Teller Hallway. He doesn't accomplish much of anything after that first pick. And BDS, they need more. Somebody has to do something for BDS, not just Shaiiko. We're talking about him a lot because he's the fragger, but we know other players on BDS are capable of fragging, and nobody is. And it's not just that. It's obviously, there's more to it than that. The positioning from Empire is excellent. The teamwork is excellent. Their ability to refrag, not perfect. I've seen some mistakes on that front, but it's better than any other map we've seen from them this series. They're definitely heating up, and they look better here on Consulate than they did on Cafe or than they did on Coastline.
Well, 13 kills on the side of BDS at the moment. 19 kills between Always and JoyStiCK.
Just the two.
But Dan, with only his 6 kills, has 3 first bloods for his team.
Yeah.
And extremely high impact kills as well. So we'll see exactly what he can continue to do as now the side swap. The tail of the tapes from the first half are 5 rounds for Empire to 1 for BDS. And the other thing for Empire is they have 5 opening picks. That's enormous for them.
Yes.
The site rotation, by the way, for BDS was all but that very bottom floor site, because imagine trying to defend Garage with no Jaeger.
That would be really, really interesting, yeah.
No Jaeger, no Echo. Enjoy not having any utility remaining.
Wait,
Scyther, what are you doing? You're supposed to be indoors.
And he's dead.
I don't know what he was doing there. Maybe he thought there was a run out capable, but we didn't see his perspective.
A few more of those, Parker, and we got ourselves an even match.
Absolutely, and that is a tremendously poor mistake to make.
Oh, is JoyStiCK going to do it too? He's looking for the angle, not the run out necessarily, but he's not going to find anything, as Renshiro is on the other side of the balcony, not exposed. BDS now with the man advantage, they could just methodically pick away at these walls. That wall opened up is going to allow a nice line of sight, not only into A, but also into B, technically through connector, and you can cover the Visa staircase so there's no flank potential.
We'll see what comes of the remaining 90 seconds now as Empire have been forced farther back. Gemini goes in. This is a console office defense for Empire. This top floor bomb site not played all that often, but with the bans being the way they are, you can't really go down to the bottom floor, so that's why that Garage defense hasn't really shown its head. And
I don't expect it to very much, though. Maybe Empire will surprise us. So far, no answer back from Empire. They're on defense. They're trying to act like it right now, not trying to push their luck. But I gotta say, that's probably the right call considering the way BDS is set up. Look at them. They're just waiting for a push right now as they set up for the take.
JoyStiCK down below as Renshiro tries to whittle away on the rappel, and JoyStiCK, look at this long line of sight. And eventually that Surya gate will open up. Renshiro finished off by Always, as now there's more for him by long desk, but he has to play a very sharp route to get back into the console office. BDS will be looking to get the case down inside a projector on the A-bomb site, but they'll need to guide BriD in. They've got control of Visa. ShepparD takes a single shot, and Shaiiko gets swatted away, Always having a huge round. Now the lineup for Elemzje, as he managed to get it down, a secure onto Dan, playing by long desk. These teams at a 3v3. One on rappel, he drops, Always a third kill. He looks for the gate reset, but it's not available just yet for him. JoyStiCK down below. He could come back on a flank. Does somebody from BDS watch? Yes, Elemzje does. He'll even things out, but no, he gets dropped again. So BriD's next in line, Always with 4 kills. A big ace here would secure match point for his team. The newest member for Empire looking to put a stamp on the major, and he's got 4 thus far, but ShepparD gets it. He doesn't need the ace because Empire's got match point.
What a round, Parker, and it is really damning for BDS, as it seems they are not going to have more luck on attack than they had on defense. They definitely got that first pick, and that's fantastic. But they completely fell apart. One of the most important things there, yes, of course, Always got a 4K. But the first kill he got was on the player on balcony. That's his 3rd kill. He also got another kill on balcony. But that initial kill on the balcony is what set the tone for the rest of the engagement. The reason for that is because BDS no longer has the cross. That meant that Always could push back into projector, which is exactly what he did. So balcony player killed from connector, I believe, or BDS possibly. You follow that up with a push into back into projector. You get a kill in that push. Then the player that is rotated from BDS onto the balcony to reapply that pressure to projector Always also kills. And now it's desperate for BDS. You've lost manpower. You've lost control. You've lost your crossfires. What do you really do at that point? I mean, heck, the Surya gates are going back up already. So, I mean, well played to Always. It's really him landing those shots. But strategically, it's also relevant that BDS just didn't have the pressure that they wanted from all the different locations that they needed. So we go to the bottom floor here. Empire, they're going to try it without the Jaeger, without the Echo. They've got the Maestro. They didn't even bring the Wamai. Instead, they'll bring Valkyrie. So you can imagine they're going to be going for some aggressive plays. They need to, because if the 4 nades on BDS are allowed to work the way that they ought to, this is going to be a pretty one-sided round, frankly. In favor of BDS, to be clear. We'll see, though. I mean, BDS hasn't been able to make much work for them. Oh no, he's doing it, and he hits the shot. The C4 goes out, and that one's going to get shot. I don't think Scyther's going to make it back in.
But they traded it off. Technically, the first kill goes to Empire as Renshiro falls.
Yes.
This is an absolute mess, and the Madmen are doing it. By the way, it's a garage defense for Empire, Michael.
Yeah, and it's, yep. And the nades going in there to try and deny the denial on the wall. Open sesame, says BriD, and he's got the garage panel nice and wide so he can make a play. Shaiiko! Oh, he's so close on yellow stairs. The C4 goes out, but doesn't seem to do anything from JoyStiCK. That's great there for BDS. A dud. Shaiiko backed off of the yellow staircase after he didn't get a pick on his initial fish, and he's just going to play it safe here.
ShepparD looking for a lineup. Nice shot from Shaiiko. Goodness. You're going to need a couple more of those as your team finds itself staring down the barrel of defeat. And a flight back home to France awaits you if you are not successful here. Empire will trail, but we found them in this position before, and they've still been able to pull it off. But a garage defense might be a tall task for them.
Oh, second exothermic charge. A very wide open garage there. And this is going to be a much easier take for BDS as a result. JoyStiCK goes down, and that's huge. RaFaLe from above. It's just ShepparD and Always. They have denial, though. They can still hold out, but there's so much time for BDS.
Tons of utility and a nice kill from Shaiiko to take out ShepparD. Always got a 4K last time. You're going to have to do that again. Lineups now for him over on yellow stairs. He takes the fight, but Shaiiko comes online at the right time. And BDS will need to mount an impressive comeback. The comeback of all comebacks, as Empire will hold them to match point for the next 5 rounds.
2019 Invitational Finals.
2020? 2018?
I mean, most of them.
Which
frankly.
ones?
All of them. They've been really. We've seen a lot of comebacks in the Invitational Finals. No, but you're absolutely right there, Parker. If you're going to have a comeback for Shaiiko specifically, that's the exact moment you need it. Your back is against the wall. Shaiiko has been quiet throughout Consulate, and finally in that round, he picks up a very important, I believe, 3K. And that's so huge for his team. I think it's because he's on Yana. You give him the ARX, you put him on Yana. I mean, Shaiiko just pops off on that roll.
Yeah.
Attackers need to locate
So,
and defuse as
Empire.
many bombs as they can.
They've decided that the bottom floor is not their site. You know what? They're not comfortable there. So they'll go to the middle floor. And
I don't know why they tried to attempt that.
I don't either.
You can't get intel. You don't have an echo.
They didn't
You're
even
not
bring
going to be able
Wamai.
to stop the grenades.
Wamai is like one of the best operators on that
Open
site.
breach, smoke,
right?
grenades.
Yeah. I don't
Nothing
know.
can stop
This
it.
is weird. This is very weird. Ooh, look at this drone. I like this from Shaiiko. Good information here. Not likely to be spotted either. Anyway, one of the things that I wanted to mention here is that because of the nature of the first half, even though Empire couldn't defend the bottom floor just now, they already did defend the top floor, and they've got so much redundancy in rounds to try all of the sites. They'll just pop from one to another. You know, we don't like the middle floor. They lose it here. Oh, let's go to Archives Tellers. Ah, you know what? We don't like that. We'll go back upstairs. You know, they could rotate around several times until they find somewhere that they're comfortable. They'd have to choke up really hard here, and BDS would have to clutch up really hard for this to have any result other than the one that appears to be pretty obvious. But we've seen those matches before. We've seen BDS come back from this position before. I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen.
Team Empire need to ensure that they don't loosen their grip on a matchup that they have so far absolutely dominated BDS on. Fix this issue with JoyStiCK going from the Mozzie onto a Wamai. Still positioned on yellow stairs. Somebody desperately needs to kickstart the offense on BDS as every single player is in the negative, some deeply so. Renshiro and BriD have had some significant troubles. Renshiro in particular dying early on, and Shaiiko, even though now he's had a big round under his belt, still needs to put in more of an effort.
I mean, if Always and JoyStiCK don't get shut down, if they stay alive, like that's it, right?
Yeah.
And Always in particular, what a match from him.
We'll see these grenades will be taken to great extent here as damage is done to Dan from a frag grenade that gets dropped on in.
Yep.
Still watching. This is a lobby defense, by the way, as the console office bomb site is locked down, and Empire don't feel particularly keen to go down to Teller's Archives.
And they already tried that bottom floor, did not work out.
It absolutely did not work, and Teller's Archives did not work out effectively for BDS on one of those two occasions.
Lem's coming down spiral here, and he's got a good line, actually. If nobody spots him, he could do a lot of work from this position, especially if we see Always peek out here.
Empire doesn't seem to have a good read on these sorts of things, as Always will be fed the machine of Elemzje. If Always doesn't look the right way, it'll put Elemzje on even footing. There you go. He picks off Dan, immediately runs back up spiral. JoyStiCK is next one to take some damage. He's under too much fire. Out he goes, and Elemzje can net his second before RaFaLe goes down. So the advantage is in favor of Team BDS.
Empire only one down, though. The real tricky thing is how much time BDS has left to clutch this out. They can't just wait and expect another defender to push into them, potentially getting a pick. Alem sees the feet of an exposed defender downstairs, but uh-oh, it's ShepparD on the push-up spiral. Are they going to be ready? It looks like yes, but Shaiiko can't win that fight, and ShepparD will just retreat now to Banana as he evens the man count. There's Elemzje looking for his third, but he can't due to the railing. The C4 goes out, but it's a little too slow.
It'll open up a window for Elemzje to look down in the final 20 seconds, and now ShepparD has lost access to that Nitro cell. A common default plant spot, and ShepparD can't win the fight. BriD does. He drops on him. Always in a 1v3, and what can he do? Does he have a camera up? Yes, he does. Does it do enough damage? It does! 5 seconds left. Somebody from Empire needs to go in there, and more damage being done as well. But at some point, he'll need to get up. They lose the Maestro camera, and on zero, Always will have to take the fight on his own. A long path back into the bomb site with the matchup on the line. He's had a couple huge rounds thus far, and he sees the sledge. Cannot hit the head of Elemzje as they just play a do-si-do. Up top, control taken by Renshiro, and he'll have the line of sight looking downwards. Elemzje has scampered away. This is going to be tough for Elemzje as he doesn't know where any of them are. The diffuser at the halfway point. Great patience on his end. Waiting. Nobody knows where it is. Tense moments, and he's almost at the point of no return. He hops on it. Elemz is called into action. Renshiro can't see it. Always falls off. He's only got 3 seconds to net this kill. Elemz plays keep away. He gets the kill anyway, and BDS stays alive.
Just barely, though, Parker. That was a close one. 5 more seconds, and that would have been a Empire round, and thus an Empire match, but not so. Beautiful clutch up from BDS. Tension is palpable for these players. They know they've got what it takes to make this comeback happen, but it's going to take everything. That last round, BDS, once again with the early picks. They're doing great on attack, just the same way that Empire did in acquiring early kills and translating that to a site hit. Empire very narrowly missing out on opportunities. One thing I have to mention, I think it was either Scyther or ShepparD. I think it was ShepparD, though, getting Goomba stomped by BriD. That's a problem. You can't be having that. SMG11 at that angle, in that situation, you should win that. And had he won that, Empire loses, or sorry, Empire wins that round, and we're already done. It's 1 kill, Parker, that separates us from being finished and continuing on in this match.
This feels like the grand finals.
It kind of does.
This absolutely feels like the grand finals. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, BDS are very much back in this. Now, we talked about the operator bans, making it so that the attackers had a huge advantage. And Empire winning their very first defense has put BDS in an extremely tough spot. But if there's any team right now in this event that can claw their way back, it's BDS. They did it against Furia, and Furia proved to be a mighty tough contender. But Empire just right now look to be on another level. They can't commit mistakes. An early pick from Empire to regain some lost momentum could be the killing blow to BDS. As, for now, both teams still have their timeouts available, and Empire's buffer right now is 3 rounds before overtime.
I was going to mention how a Valkyrie would be great for Empire right now, and that's exactly what they bring. Scyther's going to get some great information here, and he's going to mark the opponent. Here's the rappel, goes for the vault, and there it is! Scyther gets the kill that he wanted the last time he did that, but he'll die. But it's still putting the enemy on the back foot. I will say, Renshiro has been asleep through this map. So, not the most impactful kill.
Third time's a charm, by the way, on that one.
Yeah, he's done that a lot. he just keeps doing it. But anyway, you know, a kill's a kill. And, yeah, it's better than nothing. Now, Elemzje going for the nade kill. He knows that somebody's going to be playing inside a projector. This is a good way to get that kill early on in an indirect fashion. Not the greatest nade placement there. Shaiiko will give away his position on Visa's staircase as he starts firing up the tracers, uses the Gon 6. Dan wants to play. He hears the nade, and he backs off a little bit there. Dan is wondering whether it's prudent to take the risk with Shaiiko. Elemzje is getting the marks, and he messes up the nade, and it doesn't land.
They can't collapse on Dan right now, playing by the table. JoyStiCK picks off Elemzje. The Valkyrie camera's still above. That's the real deal. Shaiiko walks in, annihilates Always, but then immediately gets out of there, only shrugging off about 60 points of damage. JoyStiCK, low profile, but there's Shaiiko. He's in right now, out-dueled by ShepparD. 2v2, all this action occurring in the first half of this round, setting us up with BriD holding the case and RaFaLe to focus on helping him out. But these might not necessarily be the 2 players from BDS you want in this position.
And now possibly the long pause as BDS just slow their roll. Valkyrie cam's giving tons of information. They need to be concerned about that as the action starts to mount up again.
JoyStiCK stunned in his position, still playing around the deployable shield. There's some drones on in to give BDS information. And the 3 players from BDS who are dead, you know will be calling on cams. And if they're not successful, that's it for BDS's run. Empire are only 45 seconds away from the grand finals. They've won a major before. They're looking to do it again. They've got 2 targets to find. BriD breaches into the site. He's got the case in hand. He takes down ShepparD, and it's JoyStiCK, the most notable member from Empire. He needs to pick the right angle, left or right. He gets the case. That's it, and JoyStiCK is stopped for RaFaLe at the last second. BDS have taken 3 rounds in a row.
Just 1 kill, Parker, and we see it 1 round after another. Once again, it's RaFaLe with the big clutches for his team. And now we see Empire finally starting to sweat.
So timeout being called by Empire, and probably the right time to do it. You have now lost out on 3 separate sites. You went to garage downstairs, and maybe, just maybe, going to that site killed your momentum more than you wanted it to. An unsuccessful defense on lobby and console office. Now,
oh, well. And now they're starting to get the shakes a little bit. I mean, one bullet there. I mean, I said one kill when it happened, but one more bullet from JoyStiCK onto RaFaL, and then we'd be done. We'd be gone. And it's the same thing with BriD winning that fight against ShepparD in the main lobby. I mean, it's
so
just
close.
These tiny
So
little,
close.
the margins are just microscopic.
After a timeout is taken, you have an abundance of time to decide which site you want to go to, and then you're going to go right back to where you were before. Given how narrow it was, it seems somewhat sensible. Big question for me, is Scyther going to stay inside the building this time?
Well, I hope he throws his
Does
cams.
he realize he's on defense?
I hope he throws his cams outside at least. But I agree, Scyther being alive at the end of the round could be very relevant. We don't know because we haven't seen that very much.
I mean, I hate to say it, but he keeps trading out Renshiro on these attempts, and Renshiro has not been able to play the game. He's 2-9, and you haven't seen any real utility exerted. The Valkyrie playing in with her safe recoil MPX and access to a Nitro cell, and Scyther just being an overall good player could potentially go much better if you stayed in the damn building.
Yeah, we'll see what happens exactly, Parker. And I also want to say that ShepparD's been not the same smoke that I'm used to seeing. I think a part of that has to do with the map. His placements in smoke have been good, but BDS are just flowing around that like water. So it's that I think it's ShepparD trying his best and actually doing quite well, but not having the same effect that we're used to. Maybe it's just because of Consulate.
The answer to the question, by the way, is yes. He's very much staying in the building.
Yay!
He's got a long range, and a vault in through the window could net him a kill here. Even though it is a P shooter, a single shot to the head with that low recoil could do enough damage. The good news for Renshiro is with 45 seconds off the clock, he's actually lasted longer than almost every round so far in this matchup. So he's going to be able to exert some influence on this round,
Yay.
too. Shaiiko has struggled. He has not been able to carry rounds the way that he wants. He's had a couple big, impactful rounds, but still, the rest of the team has not been able to rally around that. As BDS are allowed full entry to admin and are going to start on Copier and onto the Visa stairs.
This is setting up to be a very basic projector take here. And as long as that player on balcony does not die for BDS, they will take this round.
Oh.
They have the pressure. Ooh, it's known that Scyther is downstairs. BDS will have to deal with that. That's going to take time, and it's going to be a distraction. So either deal with Scyther or get C4'd from below. That's the question you have to ask yourself. Which one is better?
I think he's still there, and he's on cam right now. They could take advantage of this quite easily. A grenade ready to go in, grabbed by a magnet, so Dan can stick around for now, but he is in a rough spot. Where does he look? That's the real question. Chunking away at BriD, and he's going to lose the Prisma to his left. Shaiiko previously had just walked in and killed, and now the grenade goes down. Dan evades it, droned out again. Another grenade goes in. He's under siege. This is why the Jaeger ban is so influential. He needs to outduel Shaiiko. Can't do it. Nobody can right now as Shaiiko continues his assault, heading over towards Long Desk with BDS up by 1 in terms of man count.
They also have firm control of Projector. This is going to be huge for BDS. They can turn this into a plant if they properly isolate the angles. They're still going to need that balcony pressure, so I expect to see someone there in due course, but it's just not happening yet.
Nobody's covering Long Desk. They allow Elemzje to get towards the top of Spiral Stairs. He'll be on flank watch for the Valkyrie. Scyther will need to know this as he's still being marked. Down goes Always, and Elemzje will contest the duel. Sees the head. BDS are just crushing Empire on every single way, and now a breach in through the side. JoyStiCK stops BriD. Diffuser down. He and ShepparD hunker down in the same area, and a case will go down to cover it as JoyStiCK watches towards the vending machines. He'll scamper off. One of the clones goes by, and Elemzje will watch it. More flashes go in. RaFaL's turn to get the case, and he'll do so successfully. BDS have so many people watching, so many eyes on the case as it's going down, but RaFaL stops. From below, JoyStiCK is there. A Nitro cell goes up. It'll stop it in its tracks. 5 seconds remain for JoyStiCK to get back to the site. Shaiiko will look to drop from below. Can they get it in time? Yes, Renshiro holds onto it. But who's watching? Who's watching him? Nobody's watching him! But Shaiiko stops him! What in God's name is that? BDS takes the round.
A huge mistake from BDS. 2 players drop, no cover whatsoever, and it's only Shaiiko turning around on the drop to get the denial on the retake. What?
I don't have words for what we're witnessing right now. This is a semi-final matchup. These teams have played each other countless times, and yet it feels like the weight of a grand final. Oh my goodness. And the thing is that JoyStiCK could have gotten the kill without pushing it too.
He didn't need to go in.
He could have played farther back.
He didn't know.
He saw it, but he wanted to be safe. And by doing so, he walked right into Shaiko's waiting arms.
And if Empire lose this, everyone will come right back to that moment. JoyStiCK right now finds himself the top performer in the lobby without question. But the opportunity missed.
Jeez. Empire have tried everything at this point, and they are going to go downstairs to Garage. This is an attacker-sided Consulate where, Michael, we might as well only cast 5-1 halves for crying out loud.
Yeah, it seems that way. It's been like that through most of this tournament, for you and I, at least.
I don't have words for what we're witnessing right now.
Yeah, it's quite strange, Parker, and that last round, wow. Man, I mean, BDS counter everything that Empire set up, then Empire adapt to set up new counters, and it almost works. It almost works, Parker. Also, Shaiiko has woken up. He was so quiet in the first half. He barely existed, and now he's starting to claw his way towards being one of the top performers. We discussed this. When he's on, oh, it's real hard to get him off again.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, we're 1 round away from OT. We're also 1 round away from being done here. Empire could still lock this out.
And imagine how much the BDS fans' hearts would break if after all of this, Empire managed to pull it off on the very final round. This is the 11th hour for Empire. All the momentum is in their favor. They've already taken their time out. There's no other way to stop this bleeding for them.
I don't know, Parker. The way I'm looking at this right now, the lack of the Jaegers causing so many problems. It's also going to allow for this wall to get opened up. BriD will open it in due course, and there you go. Panel 1, and look, it's a fast plant. BriD is in, and he's just going for the plant. Where's the denial? The coverage is there for BDS as the diffuser goes down. It's a 5 versus 1, and Always will have to get an ace clutch and a post plant. He gets 1, no flawless, but that's it. And the comeback might be happening here. We go to overtime.
I cannot believe this matchup. 1 round for Empire, and it came at the very start. Since then, it's just been the Shaiiko and BDS show. We are past the point of words. We are past the point of talking about this. BDS will have to settle themselves down. Empire are an absolute free fall. There is no way for them to right this ship. They need to pick up some big victories in the next round immediately. An early pick. Knock Shaiiko out. Do something at this point.
Anything, Parker. Anything. Just the runouts. I'll take the runouts again from Empire. Scyther, you could do that again if you want to.
Here is the good news. BDS has to defend twice.
Yes, yes.
This is an attacker-sided map. Empire gets an opportunity to do it twice, but how many times do we see an attacker-sided matchup then skew towards the defense in overtime, or
often,
vice versa?
Very often. Usually the defense is not the conventional sense from what we see in the regulation rounds. So the expectation here for me is not necessarily going to be contingent on what side you get in OT. It's going to come down to the miracle plays on the individual level as we go throughout these rounds. One thing worth pointing out here, RaFaL, he brings Clash. That's going to cause problems for Empire, I guarantee you. That is going to be a serious issue, and unless dealt with swiftly, Empire will struggle with that Clash.
10 seconds to insertion.
Top floor defense here for BDS. They feel like they can make this formula work.
5 seconds to
I am... Oh boy, this is one of the most exhilarating matchups that I think that we've witnessed in a long, long time, Michael. A very competitive match. Map 1, 7-5. Map 2, 7-5. And now we are in overtime, of course.
I don't know, I didn't really see it in the first 2 maps, but this third map's been really good.
I mean, they couldn't get any closer without going to overtime.
It's not about the closest, Parker, it's about the caliber of the gameplay.
That's true.
Out goes something, I don't know what that was. But, oh, it's a Valkyrie cam. There you go. Easily spotted and destroyed from Always. Usually you place those a lot sooner. Oh! Miscommunication on BDS, and that could have cost lives. But Always does not capitalize. He does not peek into it. And Empire and BDS will walk away from that unscathed.
Opening picks are so critical right now, and, well, you have to be mighty strong in that category. Empire, and Dan in particular, had led the way for his team as they swept through that first half, but it seems like the well had run dry for them as we are at an absurdly staggering 10 wins for the attackers, 2 for the defenders. And for Empire, you hope that that continues onwards because you are the team that gets to do it twice.
This is the tricky thing for Empire, though. They've been on the losing streak. They've lost the momentum, Parker. Now they're on the back foot and they're scared. So yeah, the attack has been winning, but they've been winning with confidence. That's how they get it done. Empire has to get an early pick, or they're going to flounder in this round.
Shaiiko's also woken up. At one point, he was 5-7. He is now 14-9. That is a big comeback on his part.
What a turnaround.
The rest of the team has played around it too. Lems has been quite consistent. The rest of the team just continuing to do the things that they do best.
Time is going to be a problem here for Empire. Looks like they're setting up for a CEO take, and ooh, this drone could be big. But he gets off it at the wrong moment, and Renshiro just gets into Visa right as they stop looking.
Oh no, just the timing on it. Siege timing. Shaiiko will continue to be the final boss of this matchup as JoyStiCK goes down. You need a good performance for JoyStiCK as these two go head to head. Identical score lines as they're both 15, 9, and 4. Always funny to see that. Grenade primed and ready for Scyther now as he'll go to drop it in, but a magnet clutches it out. He sees an arm. Shaiiko absorbing a lot of damage, now pushed up towards yellow stairs. Somebody from Empire will have to capitalize off of that. It could be ShepparD to do it as Shaiiko continues again. RaFaL comes to the rescue, and on the window, he gets out-dueled by Scyther. Dan inside a bathroom. He's only got one avenue. A nitro cell goes off from below, but it misses. Renshiro taking damage in the process. 30 seconds remain, and the assault will come onto Consulate, as you talked about. Always is downstairs. Will he be able to do something about Renshiro, who looks to retake from the top of Spiral? You've only got 25 seconds left.
You have to go.
ShepparD, you have the case. Get in there. On the window, repel, but he doesn't have clear access as now Scyther goes down to a Lems from below. RaFaL the Clash sees it, but what can he do? Provoking a fight, he wanders in, the gun out, ShepparD stopped at the last second, they trade off, 10 seconds remain for Empire to get in and pick up the case. It's Always to Always, but he's gonna have to confront the Clash. They slow him down. BDS have Team Empire at their throats, and it's a killing blow. BDS on match point, series point.
They need one more, Parker, for this amazing comeback, and it really has been something, but it's not done yet. It's Empire's turn to go on to defense. We'll see how they fare. I talked about it in the prep phase. If they didn't deal with the Clash, it would be a problem. And guess what, Parker? It was a problem. It was a massive problem. They needed to get that Clash out of the way earlier into the round. There was no other way they were going to be able to get the plant down. Also, Empire, even if the Clash is dead there, such little coverage on the plant. Almost none. Always is downstairs trying to deny a C4 from below. You've got some pressure by bathroom in yellow, but the cut isn't there. The Clash just waltzes across the site. I don't know. Empire are falling apart at the seams here, Parker. They need right now to reset. They have to reset. They need to just yank all previous rounds out of their mind and play the way they were playing earlier, because they were giving us some amazing siege.
Easier said than done. All they need to do is not lose.
Oh, just hit the heads, Parker. Just, shoot them in the head. Just stand still. No problem.
I cannot believe what we witnessed so far between these two teams.
It's been pretty incredible.
It seemed like it was going to be a quick one after Cafe, but boy, did Empire have other plans. And then they were like, you know what, let's make it a quick one, actually. But then BDS had other plans. So here we are in the 14th round of this fateful third map between these two European powerhouses.
The score at one point was 6-1, right?
That is absolutely correct. And since then, BDS has put 6 rounds in a row together.
Jeez.
This is reminiscent of what BDS did to Furia. And boy, how fitting is it right now. The thing is that BDS just won only the 3rd round for a defending side. That is the perfect time to do it. You are not allowing Empire to breathe at all.
If BDS does take this, they'll go into the finals with Team 1, and that would be 2 of the most clutch teams at this tournament going head-to-head. But we'll see. They need one more round. They'll have 2 chances to get it. JoyStiCK with some drone parkour here. Good information for Long Nest. Ooh, he's going to get some more drones, too. Looks like he's got at least 2 hacked drones. It's good use of the Mozzie. Going to be able to facilitate that information. They also have a Valkyrie, so there's a lot for BDS to consider.
Feels like we're back in 2018 with the amount of console ops being played.
Kind of does.
The most played bomb site by a country mile thus far. This is its 7th of these rounds played. Exactly half of the 14 thus far. Valkyrie camera spotted out now as 1 minute goes off, and there's the very first magnet. Dan has had some struggles holding on a projector because Shaiiko just walks in through the Visa stairs door and kills you and then just walks away.
Right. The biggest problem for BDS on this attack has actually been their lack of balcony pressure, but it hasn't always stopped them from winning the round. And then you can see that's why Dan is playing on that side of the bomb chassis now, because if he doesn't need to worry about the balcony, which he does as somebody gets on rappel, no, Renshiro's off. Okay. Renshiro has only 2 kills through this map. So not the best player to have in that position, and JoyStiCK looks to want to counter from the basement. He's going to have the angle, but I don't know if Renshiro's actually going to challenge that. Just slow roll here. JoyStiCK has so much information from that drone, and it's not been spotted by BDS. He's going to be able to relay this to his team, and you can hear the comms coming out practically as his lips start moving.
Dan is going to play off of this as the Nitro Cell goes out, but it's Bosch. It doesn't do any damage. He moves to maybe give the illusion that he's going to drop through the hatch. One concussion goes and an impact as well over the shoulder of Dan as Renshiro doesn't feel like contesting this fight whatsoever. X-Kairos are put down by BriD.BDS as a grenade goes out. It'll sail all the way down long desk, but JoyStiCK is still calling this, waiting for him to swing. At some point, Dan will have to engage. Shotgun out. He gets drone. He's in a tough spot. Shaiiko can't capitalize, though. JoyStiCK is on the bottom floor, waiting to retake. He has that long-range sight, remember? But what can he do with it? He's not worried about what comes next because he's going to have to take these stairs. Nitro Cell goes out. That's Shaiiko down. A huge first kill for Empire, but they've got more work to be done over the next 20 seconds. Renshiro fishing for his third kill, but the hook comes back empty as the rest of BDS need to push in. Case surrendered as BriD.BDS goes down, but Alem swats them away, and all of a sudden BDS has an advantage. It's gone. JoyStiCK doing his best to ensure it's not there anymore. Alem's trudging in, diffuser in hand. Here's your target prioritization. Where you go? ShepparD says no thank you. 2 seconds remaining, and you know RaFaLe's not gonna do it. Of course we need 15 rounds to settle this between these two teams.
And Parker, I wouldn't have it any other way. What an amazing map. As we go to the final round of this series with no room left to breathe for either team. A huge win there for Empire as the chaos from these matches, they just do not stop. So what do we see there? I hate to be that guy. But I'm going to be that guy.
Be that guy.
Renshiro costed hard that round.
Okay.
He costed so hard. His job there on the balcony is to lock down the rotations from the defenders. His job is to deny the projector player from retreating. His job is to prevent the connector player from really accomplishing much of anything. Renshiro doesn't have an opportunity for the projector player because he doesn't put himself in a position to have an opportunity. Following that, he's presented with one on the connector player as the window gets peaked, and he just loves it. And I mean, he didn't do much moving into the rest of the round either. He is not locking up any rotation from that balcony position. And to be fair, no matter who's on that balcony for Empire, it has been a constant problem for them. They are not doing good work with the balcony. And if you're going for a projector take, that is so essential. It is so important. But it's just not there for BDS, and it's the one component of their attack that is not good. One thing I will say to counteract my statement here is that the spiral pressure from Elemzje is legendary in his presence. He is doing amazing work there, picking up a lot of slack, and it's almost enough for them to take those rounds. I mean, it has been in some instances. But it could be a lot easier for BDS.
This is it, Michael. The last 3.5 hours have all led to this moment.
2.5 minutes, just about.
Unbelievable stuff, and we are going to see a conclusion. One of these teams will walk home, or one of these teams will walk out happy going to the grand finals, the other heartbreak as we say goodbye to them. The winner will go on to face Team 1 tomorrow in the grand finals.
It's almost a shame that we don't have infinite overtime or more maps to play.
Oh, please, I want to conserve my voice for tomorrow. I would like to be able to speak, and if we go to infinite overtime and Empire's involved, dear God.
What is that you said earlier? It's not all about us?
It's not all about us.
Exactly.
But it is about BDS trying their very first garage defense. They have not brought this site out just yet. What do they know that we don't?
Well, it could very well be a curveball, Parker. If you've not played it yet, the enemy doesn't know how you defend it. They're not going to know what to expect going into this, and that does give an advantage to BDS. Also, crucially, RaFaLe, once again on that clash. Again, Empire, they're very slow in attack. We've been over this, and that means that Clash gets more and more useful the slower the round is. So, I don't know. BDS are in a good spot right now, and we haven't even seen a kill happen yet as we're hitting the half round point.
90 seconds eclipsed, you're absolutely correct. And Empire, the ones with the goal in mind. That's a escort the diffuser into the site, try to do something. Shaiiko gambles, but no. Can they reload in time to secure? Yes, they can. A huge first blow. He wants something real bad, but that early death for Shaiiko has doomed his team so many times. Will it this round as well?
I don't know, Parker, because we still haven't seen a massive amount of control from Empire. They're just now getting the garage door panel open, and it's a little bit late. JoyStiCK has forced all these defenders down, I believe, but I can't be certain.
forward, and JoyStick could potentially flank while the attention is going to be on that garage panel. The meat jammer taken off the wall, so the Selmas will need to open it up. The Wrecking Crew above of Always, if nobody sees JoyStick, he can do some significant damage. He's waiting patiently for a flank on out. BriD.BDS is far away inside a server, as Scyther will duel. He sees the clash, but it's just a distraction. ShepparD getting the diffuser down. Can anybody stop this in time? A Nitro Cell will need to be trotted out, but it looks like ShepparD will be successful. Scyther taken out by Renshiro, and now it's a post plant. The smoke will work, but JoyStick is there. Always gets out, and he'll have to reposition. The last 3 players from BDS, it's desperation time. They'll look to smoke upstairs. Some ticks of damage? No, none whatsoever, as another breach charge goes down, as Dan has that control from above. The shield goes away, so RaFaLe is vulnerable, as Always plays this crude angle. Through the smoke, he sees damage to 1, but the shield comes out. Empire only have 2 more to go. RaFaLe takes matters into his own hands. Dan is down, and now it's JoyStick to try to clutch. He's on top of the diffuser. It's him versus BriD.BDS, and they've completely switched roles. BriD.BDS is upstairs. He has to get to the diffuser in the next 2 seconds, but that's it. It's over. No hope for BriD.BDS. The French go home, and Empire will be in the grand finals tomorrow.
Oh my God! What a final round to cap off the series! 20 kills for JoyStick Parker! 20! He just went absolutely ham at the end, and BDS just couldn't manage. Despite the Clash's presence, there was no denial for the plan